those in? You good?
Makeup.
Yeah. Think back to the Kale commercial. And of course, it's when we went live. Yeah, it's the minute we went live.
No, that wasn't on live.
The minute we said, okay, Greg, and I went live, and then that's when it happened. That's when the magic happens. The minute I hit that live button.
Yeah, it's great that I get to sit here with the camera on me for 10 minutes after I said that. All right, Greg, please. Please, play me off, Johnny. Play me off. No, I'm
and
not.
He's going to want me to turn the camera away to you, so that's what I'm going to do. No way he wants me to keep the camera on him.
No. Yeah, that scene would follow that.
All right, time to get spiritual now.
Find a deeper connection with your breath. Fall into expiration. Enter into inspiration. And fall into expiration. Feel the movement in the stillness. The awakening in the sedation. The fulfillment in the expiration. The contentment in the release. Become conscious of the air that you require. Allow that requirement to be fulfilled in a slow, steady, constant fashion. As you enter into the space of meditation, sense yourself arriving into it. Be comfortable in it. Tension releases. Tone is maintained. Consciously bring your body into this space. Start at the top of your head. Slowly bring the ring of light down over the head, face, shoulders, and body, all the way to the feet, inviting all of yourself into the space, relocating, readjusting, entering into timelessness. Thoughts are allowed. They're just not given much attention. They are observed. Tune into the resonance, the frequency of the space. Connect with it. Harmonize it. Become it. Acknowledge its origin as your own. You come from this space. As you assimilate into this, let go of your old points of origin. Logic, thought, tribal. Realize you come from a space. A field, a resonance, a frequency, a charge. You come from a combination of forces that have existed as long as there has been existence. Expire deeper into it. Give yourself. Merge. Notice as you merge into this space, your breath becomes something that's tended to, regulated. Venture deeper. Good. Sense the constancy and consistency of the space. It's the there-ness, so to speak. Every moment you need it, needs you. Every part of you that you release and let go, it supports. Not with rigidity, but with perfect tone. faceless, nameless source of your creation. The everything, the nothing. Into a space of paralysis that you allow yourself to experience because you are completely supported. True life support. As you surrender your ability, things continue to happen with much more regularity and consistency. Inspiration. Deeper expiration. Notice areas of discomfort, holding. Escort them into the space. Visualize them being bathed with the energy, melting into it, the ice cube becoming the water, the states becoming one, the solid being one with the liquid being one with the gas. All the elements feel the gas moving in and out of your lungs. You feel the liquid moving through your vessels. You feel the solid nature of your skeletal system. You are all of these elements and the forces at one time. You are that which you are from. Deep breath in and out. Stay in this space. Open your eyes. See love all around you. Is that yummy? Wasn't that delicious?
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the sweetest gifts that life has to offer, is that space. To be in that space is just to be surrounded by all that you are. To experience it, to know it. And then in your moments of your life to remember that you're really just in that space. And when your nervous system that wants to get locked into temporal reality tempts you to leave that space, you simply say to your nervous system, oh, thank you. Why would I want to leave a space where I feel so supported and loved? Why would I want to leave eternity to enter into temporal illusion and the stress of it? You can exist within time as an eternal being. Okay. It's just difficult to exist within eternity as a temporal being. So you are from that eternal energy, so exist within a framework of time as an eternal being. Don't come from time. The best thing about this space is that the more you're in this space, the more you are consciously in this space, because really you're never out of the space. The more you're in this space, the more you enjoy the space, the more you sense the space, the more you realize it. It just continues to be a fulfilling relationship. So we're going to slowly, in all our classes, we're going to be spending a little more time in the beginning of our classes going into deeper meditation for longer. So that when I speak to you and when we have discussion after it, that you are more open to absorb and understand the messages and information we're getting from that space.
Just an observation. I don't know if anyone else heard it, but as Greg's music was stopping, the train that goes to Lakewood was in the same key.
Yeah.
And it was almost like the universe saying, yeah.
Yeah, it was right on.
It was amazing.
It was like one instrument. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. That did not escape me. That was wonderful. Into the world of words we go.
There's miles to go before I sleep, yes.
Back to what I think I know.
Yeah, right.
Right. Oh, it seems like everything was...
We'll just skip to the end. It just doesn't matter. Yeah.
Why don't we just end the class? Now that we've covered this. Okay, so take it personal. Okay, that's what the practice is all about. It's about empowering you with a way of living, a way of being, a way of experiencing life that allows miracles to happen all around you, within you, and with those you love. Focus points. The practice is about realizing our potential and the potential that exists within life, okay? Within the space, okay? You're starting to, we're connecting that. I've been talking to you about that the last couple of weeks, that this is the space of healing, this meditative space, this eternal space is the space where healing has the most ability to reveal itself. As we step into that which is, okay? There's no longer There will no longer be a need for a catalyst for change. No, because the catalyst exists in the space. In the space. Which is the beautiful thing. If I can continue to introduce you all to the space, then the space becomes the healer. The space of healing becomes the healer. And as we enter into that space, we cannot help but be healed. Okay. So again, it's, helping you all learn how to fish, which is really just putting yourself in the water. The true power of the practice is that when you do the work to that point, the catalyst can step out. Okay? We receive the greatest blessing, which is the sustainable nature of a relationship between what is, now aware of what is. And remember, what is being aware of what is. Awareness does not require understanding. It's quite the opposite. Awareness is just awareness. I am aware of you. I do not understand you. I do not have any more understanding of you than I have of myself, but I am aware of you. That's it. That's all it needs to be. We want to take it further into understanding. As Keith and I were laughing, he was sharing with me some things that he was becoming aware of, and it was we were just laughing at the silliness of it. It's when you go past that point, you're just silly. We are inevitably moving away from being the healer to being that which is the healer. Exactly. And the healer is a space. You're going to help me keep taking you back to that. Is a space. That which is loving, honest, and without giving up continues to say, I will step into it. It's a space of consciousness, a space of being. So does everybody need to learn? Okay, that's the beauty of what the practice is trying to show everybody. Does everybody need to learn how to be a healer? No. Everyone becomes the healing space. And that space is the dictator of the healing energy. So you don't need to learn how to be a doctor. You don't need to learn how to do anything like that to be a healer. I'm just the healing space with that wrapper on it. But what's inside every one of the wrappers is the same amazing tree. So don't get hung up on waiting till you have a wrapper to be the tree. Just be the space. Because it's not about knowing. The fact that I may have information and knowledge and have some understanding on a human level of why it happens doesn't mean I have any idea what's really going on. And it's not contingent. So don't get hung up. Don't get hung up on that. That's like I'm so honest with all of you that it really has little to do with what happens. So don't let it have a lot to do with what happens. You know what I'm saying? Just be in the space. Trauma and grief are best healed from a meditative space, as are all things that need healing, because the meditative space is most conducive to returning us to homeostasis. So do you understand now why we will be going into deeper meditation for longer periods of time in our classes going forward? Now that I've been able to show you and make you aware that it's the meditative space that does the healing, okay? And the practice is all about the demonstration of the healing nature within life. It would only make more sense that my words would become less and meditation would become more, right? Otherwise, I would be literally holding you back from a healing situation with me because I would be talking too much. That would be counterproductive. So at some point, will our practices together be mainly composed of coming together, sharing love, going into meditation, doing chamber healing? Done. Just coming together, having the space. Done. Maybe a lesson or an enlightenment here or there, but that will be much more a continual, smaller part of what's happening. And your lessons will be less taught from me, and they'll be more taught as you enter into the practice of your life. Your lessons will come to you in your experiences, and then I will help you with those experiences as you bring them into the class. But it won't be for me to do the other way as much. I will begin to disappear in that role, which is good. It's good for that person to disappear, so it can arrive in all of you. Reflection questions. Keith has said that the greatest reaction he has is spending his day in laughter. What can I do to cultivate more laughter in my life, and especially to learn to laugh myself? Okay. What can we do to cultivate more laughter in our lives? Yeah, Keith.
When I was getting sober many years ago, in the AA facility thing, we had a really great teacher, and he taught us that when you're angry or anything, or even whenever, force yourself to laugh. But I found not many people are really willing to do that. You have to really convince them, force them to, come on, laugh, do it. But I found that by doing that, it actually somehow causes an immediate chemical change or something. It releases something, and it really, totally changes my attitude anyway in a very short term.
There's first of all, that's like we couldn't have started with a better one. That was amazing. Okay, because what we do is we know that the nature of laughter, the experience of laughter, it releases endorphins. So there's literally a chemical change that happens when you laugh. So it's good medicine to laugh. So if you're angry, Keith is exactly right. Of course he is.
Been waiting for weeks for that.
Come on, it's timing. It was a Bob Hope moment. It's like a salve. So he's exactly right. When you're angry, you laugh afterwards. You put the salve on it. You say, okay, that's over. Okay, that's over. Okay, that's over. And laughter, when you allow yourself to laugh, it shows that it's over. Because normally when we're laughing at something, we're in a place of peace with it. We've come to a place of peace with it. But there's nothing wrong with laughing at it all the way through. So that's a great one. Just practice it. Anybody else? Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of crazy little finger puppets. They're monsters and they're nuts. And I have one in front of every place where I get serious. Like in my car, in front of my computer, and in my medicine cabinet. I finally put a whole bunch of them in there because I thought laughter's the best medicine. So you open it up and there's all these monsters looking at you. And they're cute. I mean, they're very cute.
It's a great idea. Anybody else?
One more.
Yeah, go.
Just earlier today, I was thinking about pride and how, I accuse other people of having too much pride, and then of course I have to turn my head and I notice, well, I have it too, and I couldn't help it.
When you start to really look at yourself with love, you can laugh. When you learn how to witness, from your heart, you see so much comedy, and because it's just, to me, so many people living their lives believing they know what's going on, and they're really getting to what they think they're getting to, and they're so convinced that they have it all figured out. I know how I was when I lived that way, and it's really, I must have been funny for some beings to watch it, and I indulge in that humor as I watch other people do the same thing. So there's nothing wrong with laughing at your past life. There's nothing wrong with laughing at your past life, and that's what I'll tell people when they're on the table, and I'll start to laugh, and they'll say, "Oh, are you laughing at me?" I say, "No, I'm laughing at me. I'm laughing at me. I'm laughing at you reminding me of me," and it's a funny rerun. I love watching Seinfeld. I'll watch them like 3 or 4 times because there's so many parts of them that are just so freaking funny, and I've seen them, and I know exactly what it is, but it's funny. It's just funny, and so when you see certain moments of your life in front of you that other people are going through, give yourself permission to laugh and help them understand. You'll laugh at yourself too. You'll laugh at yourself too because what you really were so serious about and you really thought was worth killing yourself over or making yourself sick over, and you really believed it was really going to make a difference, at some point when you realize it isn't true, it's just such a relief to just be like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I shared a story with one of my good friends, Tammy, today, and it was one of those moments where you go, oh my God, what am I doing? And I'm standing in a store in Barrington, Illinois, and I'm standing there for 2 hours waiting to put a kale chip in someone's mouth when I had dinner. And I'm standing there, and it was a complete lesson in humility, which was great. But I'm standing there for 2 hours, and not anyone has walked by the table, you know, and I'm just standing there, and it hits me that, like, what I could have accomplished in these 2 hours, you know, like, what I accomplished in my day in 2 hours, and what I would, you know, I was accomplishing something, don't get me wrong, but it was one of those moments where I just went, what am I doing? Look at me, what am I doing? And it was just a moment of complete laughter. Like, you just have to look at yourself for the lunatic you are sometime and just know you're having a completely crazy moment and just laugh yourself out of it. You know, don't take yourself too seriously. Good. What is it in my life situation? No, what is it in my life, situation, person, entity, etc., that I see as a nuisance because I can find it to be something I do not want? Okay, so what's something in, give me some examples. What's something in your life that you don't want? Maddie, what's something in your life that you don't want?
Stress.
Stress. Okay, stress. What kind of stress?
Emotional stress.
Emotional stress. Okay. When someone's experiencing emotional stress, the first thing they associate that stress coming from is inside or outside? Outside. Okay, when reality, where is all emotional stress coming from? Inside. Inside. You gotta laugh at that. Because as much as you're going to want to convince yourself that it's coming from outside, because you've been letting it bother you and you've been so affected by it, I mean, this isn't you, this is everybody. You have to realize it's coming from here. I do have control over it. I can let it go. I don't have to react that way. People may not be pleased with me because I'm not reacting to them, okay? But it's okay for me not to be stressed because I'm having emotional reactions. Because when is your life around you not gonna contain any emotional stress in it? When is life not gonna contain any emotional stress? Never. And there's a reason why that answer is never. It's never so that you realize it's not here. It's like life is so obvious about what isn't it, so that you look at what is it. If it's never over, and if it's over,
I don't like the word never because when you're sitting in space in meditation, you don't know that.
right, but it still exists.
Yeah, it's potentially, it's right there.
Right, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just like it. So I don't like the word never.
That's okay. It's a word.
It's too absolute. It's a relatively absolute.
Keeps in his head, but that's okay. It's a word. It's something to describe an experience. Okay. So it's always going to be happening in a human society. So the reason it's always happening is because you can't wait for it to stop happening. You have to stop it from happening. Okay, emotional stress. It's the biggest one. Biggest cause of all disease, emotional stress. Biggest cause. There's a reason why the book takes like chapter after chapter after chapter to keep hitting us over the head with that message again and again and again and again and again. And it must be because we are, as relatively conscious as we are of it, we must still be unconscious of it. So when you get rid of your conscious emotional stress, then you get rid of the triggered unconscious emotional stress. And then once your emotional triggers are cleared and you're not being stressed by emotional situations around you or within you, it's just a different reality. It's just a different reality. So that's good. Am I able to admit that the resistance I feel towards surrendering, letting go of what I want, is the perfect transformative energy for being that which is the healer? Let's just say that again. Am I able to admit that the resistance I feel towards surrendering, letting go of what I want, is the perfect transformative energy for being that which is the healer? It's a completely accurate statement, it really is. Being the energy of healing means you're absent of want. You're absent of want. You're present. If you're wanting it to go a certain way, okay, then you're not being the energy of healing. The ultimate energy of healing is that which exists, okay? When I cut my hand doesn't heal because I want it to. My hand heals. That's healing. We're working towards that energy being our presence. So that what we're around, okay, not only what we are becomes healed, but what we're around, the cuts heal, the wounds heal. They don't even, what do you associate that cut healing with? You know, just an innate response, right? Healing response. So we just want to transform into that response. So yes, you have to let go of what you want to truly be healing. It's like the same kind of thing when they say meditation isn't what you think. You know? What is my initial reaction and understanding when hearing Keith's story about his What is my initial reaction and understanding when hearing Keith's story about his drowning with his son?
I thought of the Titanic initially.
Okay.
The first came to mind. And all the people, some of the people didn't have a chance to have a loved one hold them for the transition. But the ones that did, they were so blessed to be able to do that. And I just, it was just about love. And even if you don't have someone holding you when you transition, knowing that God's love and the angels are all around you, so you won't be alone for the transition.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And even as we go through different periods of life, you know, not even, you know, death, but transitioning in life, that there's always somebody there holding you.
Yeah. And it's okay to sometimes, you know, when you're going through one of those periods, especially with people that are in our practice, it's sometimes you just need to say, will you just hold me? Will you just hold me? I just need to be held for a minute. That's all. I just need to be held. And it's that benign, but that powerful. You know, just to have an experience of connectedness when going through that allows it to happen more peacefully. You know, it's happening. You don't need them to do anything. You're aware of what's happening. You just need to be held. So, you know, as you go through these things and we get together in these times, you know, don't be afraid to ask anybody, you know. You just hold me for a sec. You know, when you need it, you just take it. It's great to be held, and it's great to be the holder. You know, everyone wins. How did it shift with the truth? Dying with love, drafting. We talked about that. What old trauma and or grief can I take to the meditative space for healing? So, what could you take with you to the space we were in today? Did anyone take anything with them? Did anyone release anything in the meditative space as they were entering into it? Were they conscious of anything?
Little healing for my liver.
Mm-hmm.
More so, I'm dealing with releasing a really big lesson currently, and my liver's been talking to me. So in that meditative space, I really did an extra healing for the liver.
Yeah.
It was great.
Remember, the liver takes things that are toxic and turns them into things that are useful. Okay? It does that chemically. But as well, when you're going through huge processing, when you're letting go of big things that had a connotation of being very difficult and painful, the liver is working very hard to take those things and say, it felt this way, it was toxic, it was bad, but I want to turn it into something that it brought you to where you're at. It turned you into who you are. It was a part of you becoming what you are. So when you're going through awakening to a situation, for example, that was very abusive or toxic, you know, and you're past it and you're processing it and going, it was all good, it was all okay, I'm letting it go. And you're in your heart with it, your liver is working with the heart to say, now we can bring this into a place of love, now we can turn it into something really good for you. Now I don't have to store it as toxins in your fat cells. Now I don't have to keep it isolated as something that's bad for you. We can now access it, turn it into something useful that helps me make something good for you. So that's why when you're going through big transformations like Mary Lou's going through, many of you have gone through, the liver is very involved in a positive way in turning what was once a noxious or a nasty situation in the moment into something you can look on fondly and at some point laugh at.
Where is the liver located?
Right there. So this is a great question. These are basic things. It's great.
I can tell you.
It's right under here. Okay, and this is a great question. I'm so glad you guys make me answer these for everybody who's not here. Liver is right here, so you'll get discomfort here. But most of the time when your liver is not feeling well, you'll get discomfort back here. Back here. And if your gallbladder's off, you'll feel it more as a point. When the liver's off, you'll feel as a general discomfort in your right shoulder blade area. So a lot of times if you're having discomfort, and you'll notice that it's more liver instead of just musculoskeletal, because you'll notice it'll be increased after you eat. Once digestion is involved. So be conscious when you eat. If you sit down to eat and you don't have any mid-back discomfort, and then you eat something and you feel discomfort, especially when you eat something that isn't liver friendly, or you have a drink, or you have something fatty or crappy or whatever. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's really healthy. Just be aware of how did I feel before I eat, what pain and discomfort did I have before I eat, and then after you eat, just pay attention. Where am I feeling discomfort and pain?
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny you say that because when I was going through that whole transition with the sober living and that process, every time after I eat, right back there, I was like, what the heck? And then I went and got acupuncture, and that made a big difference. But yeah, it's bizarre that you said
right?
that. Yeah.
This side, okay, up here, is more tied into your pancreas. So you'll feel more blood sugar issues. And when your pancreas is off and your blood sugar isn't working well, because remember, I'll teach you, your adrenals, your liver, and your pancreas are what control your blood sugar, more so. So if your pancreas is off, you'll have pain here. If your blood sugar is constantly off, your 5th and 6th cervicals will always come out of alignment. So you'll have neck pain. If its blood sugar is low, most of the time it's on the right. If blood sugar is high or up and down a lot, it'll mostly be on the left. Interesting, isn't it? So this is adrenals. So when you're stressed and you have pain across the upper middle back, that's adrenals, diaphragm and adrenals. And then below that is where you start to feel kidneys, and into your lower back, you'll feel kidneys, but that's also large intestine. Congestion issues. So these are some really basic landmarkers that you can start to just put together on what am I feeling, what is it connected to? And the more you all just know this, you'll be able to put things together. Just some basics. Why are you smiling like that? Am I just full of fun facts?
No, I'm just like, tick, tick.
Oh, I'm just
Too
checking
many
boxes.
tick marks for me. Yes, it's just nothing but net, really.
Told you guys, I'm telling you all my secrets. Good. Okay, we have time left for, I feel like we need to leave a little extra time for chamber tonight, so I want to make sure we do that. You want to do a quick lesson? You want to do a quick one? Anyone want to do a quick one? Sure. Want to do a flip lesson? We haven't done a flip in a while.
Sure.
Unless someone has something specific they want me to talk about for a few minutes. Does anyone have a specific question they want me to answer, or anything they want me to talk about? Or you want to leave it up to the book, Kat?
I've been thinking about mindfulness today,
Okay.
and I was wondering as I was driving over here, how is mindfulness connected with intuition? Is mindfulness the precursor to being able to have that intuition or be able to feel or know it? It feels like there must be a connection.
I think mindfulness is more just aware of your mind, aware of what your mind is doing, aware of how your mind is thinking. Intuition is more being aware of what's going on around you. Mindfulness is more what is my mind doing, how is my mind behaving, my thoughts, my beliefs. Intuition is more of sense of, they call it the 360-degree sight. It's like what's going on around me, what's life telling me, where mindfulness is more what am I thinking. So to your question, if you're more mindful of your mind and you calm your mind, you can be more aware of what life is trying to tell you because you're not so preoccupied with what you think is going on. You can let go of what you think is going on, and you can actually be aware of what's going on.
But I'm thinking about mindfulness, like, I went to a very short seminar today about mindful eating, so that you're conscious that you're eating and not just shoveling food in your face while you're watching TV. And to me, that's being in the moment.
Yeah.
Now, is being in the moment a mind thing? Or is it can't just be a mind thing, right?
Being in the moment.
Well, if I
Go ahead.
So, like, mindfulness might be the up close. It's focus, it's present, it's focus, but it's up close, it's immediate. Whereas intuition is focus, but there went that thought. But it's
More expansive.
bigger picture. Thank you. It's expansive. It's
That's exactly it. That's the words I was looking for. Mindfulness is your ability to focus on something. Intuition, if you use your intuition, it isn't your information. Intuition is you're tapping into a collective consciousness, so to speak, that's making you aware of things.
It's the what is.
Yeah.
The way I think of it is mindfulness. If you're mindful, it helps you to be in a meditative state, and it's the meditative state that allows you to hear the intuitive.
Yeah, more so. Yeah, one feeds the other. But look at one is more coming from your mind, and one is more being received because your mind is calmer. Intuition to me is nothing more than a sense of it's a sense of observation. It's a sense of information. It isn't something I'm not generating my intuition. I'm receiving information intuitively. So one is from this place, and the other to me is from this place.
Well, it's like when I worked on starting to become mindful, it's like when I found the class, like online, because I was mindful of what I needed, and I was spiritually lacking. And then that opened me up to searching for something, and then I found the class. And then through that and being able to like listen, I was able to take that leap of faith, go against that resistance, and then from there I could actually start. I was aware of like what the word was telling me to do. Like I had that intuition, and like I've had it ever since. And it's like we were talking about this last night. Like I look back on the past 6 months of my life. And like where my intuition has led me is beyond my wildest dreams.
Yeah, it's beyond. Another way to say that is where intuition has led him is beyond his mind's ability to comprehend. So yes, it's a stepping stone, but ultimately you get into the space of experience beyond your comprehension. And intuition truly comes from a space beyond our comprehension, which is why so many things become possible that didn't seem possible. Like your hands going from one color to another color.
But if you're mindful while you're eating, for example, and not watching TV, but being mindful, that means if you're always in front of the TV or always reading a book when you're doing something like feeding your body,
right,
that prevents that intuition from being able to come out because you're just filling it up with other stuff.
Yeah, you're too saturated. In general, just people are just oversaturated. Their sensors are oversaturated, and they become addicted to saturation, causing satiation. And it's really, you need to go through the withdrawal from satiation because of sensory saturation. And then you rebalance your sensory system to be much more content with not being saturated with sensory innervation and instead being saturated with spiritual innervation.
It's the whole addiction society.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's all it is.
Just breathe through the withdrawal.
Yeah. But at some point, addiction ends the same way for all of us, all right? And no matter what addiction it is, all addiction ends in the same place. Saturation. That's it. Well, at some point you become saturated, okay? And you realize that you cannot saturate yourself with thought, drug, substance, that more does not yield a better saturating experience because you've reached a maximal saturation point. There's only one place to go after saturation. It's desaturate. Yeah, that's it. Or you just continue to chase the saturation point.
But it's almost like once you put so much salt in the water, the salt starts to come out of solution, okay? It's reached a saturation point. You putting more salt in the water is not going to put more salt in the water. It's going to put more salt at the bottom of the beaker. It's reached a saturation point. It's a chemical saturation. It's all the same thing. It's the same thing about having too many people in your life, caring too much, okay? You reach a saturation point in caring for other people, okay? And there's a diminishing return. All of a sudden, you just start getting less and less and less the more and more you do it. That just shows you you're at a saturation point. Just fast out. Clear the system. Stop doing it so much. Back away. Open up the sensors. Reset the system. Do a cleanse. Any kind of cleanse. Physical cleanse. More than that, do a cleanse from being on the internet. Do a cleanse from watching TV when you eat. The cleansing is nothing more than a ceremonial process of desaturating the system so that you can relook at it from who you are now. Because many times people get into saturation patterns and they're in them for decades, lifetimes. And that's why it's so hard to stop addiction, because you have invested so much in believing saturation works that it's a kick in the balls to realize that it doesn't, because then it's like, you're really happy because you're done, but you're really bummed because you've shit all over yourself.
That's how I feel about sugar.
That's it. Oh, it's everything. It's the same thing for anything.
It's like, I'm sad.
Yeah.
And everybody's going and stuffing their faces with donuts, and I'm not doing that anymore, even though I know if I eat it, I'm going to feel like shit. Pardon me.
No, it's great.
But I'm sad because I didn't think I had enough. In my brain, I don't think I've had enough.
That's it.
And my body knows I've had enough.
Yeah. So that's the nature of it. So what happens is, as you simplify your life and you desaturate your possessions, you desaturate yourself from excess thoughts. Like, you just keep desaturating yourself, And one of the amazing tools that really, really helps us is the sensory deprivation tank. Really helps you desaturate. Because you have nothing coming in. So for an hour, you have nothing coming in and everything getting cleared out. Nothing coming in, everything being cleared out. So you walk out of there and you're absent of a lot. And then all of a sudden you notice fruit tastes better, vegetables look better, your colors are better, everything looks more enhanced, because you realize now that it's not saturated with crap, it upregulates and you see the yes of it all. And that's what meditation does. That's what the space of meditation does. Again, it's all the same thing. I need you guys to realize all these things are the same thing. Sensory deprivation, entering into a meditative space, just sitting and being quiet. Desaturate. Stop always shoving something in your freaking system. Whether it's in your eyes or in your ears or in your mouth or in your mind. And then when you're not shoving something in it, stop creating something. Just stop. Desaturate. And that's what we did together. Well, that was a perfect thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That was the perfect thing. Love that. And that's the nature of addiction. And as long as you believe in saturation, you'll be addicted. As long as you believe in gratification through saturation, you'll be addicted to something. Addiction ends when you fully embrace that there is no sustainable joy in saturation. There is only sustainable joy in homeostasis, balance. Balance in all aspects of your being. And I always like to leave a lot of capacity in my nervous system. So if I really have that incredible moment of witnessing something, I love that my nervous system has the capacity, that I'm not maxed out on crap. That I have incredible capacity to feel high levels and be saturated with high levels of joy and bliss that bring me to tears. Because I'm just so saturated with love and joy at that point. I'm just completely immersed in it. That's the bonus you get from not saturating. That's what I get for what we call suspended gratification, okay? For working on keeping your nervous system emptier and emptier and emptier and emptier, not giving it a temptation to fill it up too much. Keeping it empty, not overeating, not over. You know, I think that one of the books I would love to write someday is that I'd love to teach people how to exercise their no. You know, we need to exercise our no. And that's a real fun book that I plan on writing. Just teaching people how to exercise no. Everyone loves to exercise, yes. You know, but we need to learn how to exercise no. And not no out of fear, not no out of no, I really want that, no, I could really help, no. Just exercising a balance of no, so that when you are in something, you know that you have the ability to say no, and you have the ability to say yes whenever it's best. So that'll be a fun one to look forward to in the future. But in the meantime, you already have the 99% of the book, which is exercise your no. So I saved all that time of writing it, and I just gave you the best parts of that.
That's right. Just say no.
Just say no. So, excellent. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you so much for bringing that catalyst in, and what a wonderful dialogue.
I would like to say Beth O'Brien made a comment. No is a complete sentence. So Beth, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. So let's geez, oh man, it's already 7:30. So you know what? Let's who in the room really needs to be in the chamber tonight? Who in the room really needs to be in the chamber? Come on. Who's struggling with something? Who's dealing with something? Yeah. Okay, Maddie is great. So let's do our chamber with Maddie, and I want everyone for the chamber tonight. We're all going to stay in our seats, and we're all going to enter into a space. Okay? I want all of us to enter into that space. I'll bring you into it through our meditative moment again, just to help you facilitate it. And we're all going to meet Maddie in that space. And the reason I'm doing this with you all is I want to have you start transcending space and physicality and your ability to help be the healer. I'm going to guide this. Like everyone who's in this space to support Maddie in her release of responsibility for others. And her history of saturation of responsibility for others. And let's just all help her let go of that saturation. And just open her up. Clear some space for her to be more saturated with her own needs, her own requirements. Strengthen in her the truth that we know, that is, to be the best for everything around me is to be my best. And for Maddie to be her best, being healed of things would be a wonderful, wonderful best. She's already well on her way. Let's support her in that. Support her in staying in that meditative space when she's surrounded by emotional stress. Support her in having permission to stay. To not leave that space where she's being healed to know that ultimately as she stays in that space and she is healed, she will call those around her into that space, knowing that if they are really ready, they will enter into that space. And if they're not, she will stay in that space and do what she can for them from that space of healing. It is never best to disconnect from a place of healing, to heal someone. It's like unplugging the light and then turning the light bulb on. You have to stay plugged in. Everyone hold that space. And what she struggles with is the same thing that so many of us struggle with at this point in our lives, is that she's such a really beautiful, good-hearted person. She just wants to help. And I just ask her to become conscious of when that moment is good and when it is not. "99% of the time, help is throwing someone a life preserver and saying, grab onto this so I can pull you to the boat. 1% of the time, it's jumping in the water. Yet the first thing we think of when we think help is we think jumping in the water. So don't want to help. Be something that's helpful. Delay the gratification that you normally get by helping right away. And have a moment of consciousness about what is the best way to be helpful. Even though I might not get the gratification I want, nor the acknowledgement from another, it's not about that dynamic anymore. It's about what is the best way to be helpful. Of course we want everyone in our life to be healthy and happy. Of course we want everyone around us to feel good. Of course we do. But it doesn't work that way. The mathematical odds of everyone in your life being completely happy and content is infinitesimal compared to the fact that most of the time someone's going to be struggling with something. So be helpful in the knowing of that. Deep breath in and out. Maddie, you are surrounded in this space by people who affirm and support you in being healthy, balanced, and content. The space you are from supports you in that. Let go of coming from any other space that demands or requires you to be anything other than that. For all the other Maddies out there or in this room, her healing is your healing. She steps forward for everyone in a similar situation to be healed of that pattern of reaction and behavior. We are here to be saturated ultimately by light, balance, peace, compassion. Desaturate your system so you can fill it with those things. When you're filled with those things, they aren't addicting in that way. They're fulfilling. Not fulfillment through saturation in that other way where it's addictive. Peace, contentment. A gratefulness. A saturation is, so to speak, that leads to gratefulness and contentment. Not a saturation that leads to a yearning or a longing for more. Maddie, you are enough. You are enough. You're enough when people are happy. You're enough when people are not. You are enough. Blessings to all my brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with me tonight. Input, questions. What an amazing class we had again. We're so blessed to be together and share this time together. I look forward to seeing all of you who can make it next time.
Can I say quickly?
Of course.
Yesterday I watched this video. It happened to be about non-duality, and you were doing what you were saying just then. You were saying that see if we can hang out in that space, or stay in that space all the time.
Yeah.
Well, this lady, she had come to a point where she had, advanced to sort of enlightenment, she still was there. But she said that she used to think that she had these feelings of being spacious and connecting with the all and all this stuff, and sometimes it wasn't there, so she figured, well, then when she wasn't there, she had to get to there. But she said now she recognizes that actually that space, in essence, it is there it is there also when I don't think it's there. And that doesn't mean just saying this is going to make you recognize that, but to me it helped me to recognize that actually, yes, this openness, or this it is kind of in everything. So
Yeah.
if you want to know what the video is, let me know afterwards.
It's remember, we talk about this space as this is where we're from. This is where it comes from. It's not that it's like it's an overused term, but it's like a part of the matrix of everything else. But when we connect to this frequency, it allows a greater sense of healing and order. Have a great night, everybody.
That's a wrap.